Guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing kind of a like spin-off video. I don't know like what it would be called, but it's like a continuous video of an original video I've done before, and it was actually I'm actually kind of doing this last minute. I didn't really like gather a lot of like information, but I do hope that this video is still helpful for you. So overall, when I was looking for a Kindle, I was trying to find reviews that were like years later. I think it was about 2 years I've had my Kindle, and it's been 2 years since I made that last review. But I kind of wanted to do my review about like 2-ish, 3-ish years later, as someone who continuously has read on their Kindle. Mind you, I am not a big like techie person, so I wouldn't be able to like provide all that like technical information, but I can let you know like how my Kindle is functioning, if I even think it's worth it, and which it is, but I will tell you why I think it's worth it, and then I will be able to kind of go a little bit in depth about why I really feel like the Kindle is a really great investment, and it has become one of my most favorite pieces of technology, obviously next to like your cell phone and my Switch. But the Kindle has become something so important to me like in my reading life, and I will kind of further go into that as like someone who kind of continuously reads, and then also from a like perspective of someone who may not read as much, and why I think that you should still get a Kindle. So without further ado, I will kind of just jump into this video. Again, I don't have like a lot of, I didn't like organize everything, so I hope this is not too rambly, but I hope this video is helpful for you if you are considering getting one for the first time and you want to see if it's even worth it like later on, not just in this like little hype moment. So yeah, I am so excited to kind of share this video because my Kindle has become like my bestest friend, and I can't wait to share with you guys like what I think of my Kindle. Okay guys, I am back. My camera's charged, and I just had like a little chicken wing break because today's 4th of July, so you know you have to have wings on 4th of July. And also, I'm not sponsored by Kindle. That'd be amazing, but I'm not. So this is just like my personal opinion, and I'm just stating why I really feel like the Kindle has become a huge part of my life, and why I feel like I always have to have a Kindle in my life. So yeah, okay, so I'm gonna briefly go over like not really techie like perspective, but more of like a perspective as to like longevity of the Kindle. So honestly, I try not to overcharge my Kindle. So when I charge it, like I said, I don't leave it on the charger. You know how like you're not supposed to leave some batteries, like your phone for example, which I'm guilty of. You're not supposed to leave them on the charger like overnight. It's just, I think it like swells up the battery. I don't know the whole technical side of it, I really don't. But with my Kindle, I just try not to make sure that I don't do that. But what I do is like I will kind of charge it and set like a timer for about like 30 40 minutes depending on what it is. I've noticed with my Kindle, I've had this maybe 2-3 years, and I can probably count on my hands like on a total of like underneath like 2 of my, I can't find the words. I can count like probably under 10 times that I had to really charge my Kindle. And I don't know if that sounds dramatic, but I don't really have to charge it a lot. I'm not reading on this all the time, like I'm gonna be honest. I don't always read on my Kindle, but I do really feel like I read on it a good amount, to where I read on it like a medium amount. Like I'm not like a minimal reader, and I'm not like a really huge like constant reader. I am always constantly in a book, but that doesn't always mean I'm always using my Kindle. But I don't feel like I've ever had to charge my Kindle as much. And when I do charge it, I've noticed that it charges just freakishly fast. It charges really fast. So I think it charges within under an hour, and you can have it about like almost 100%, at least like from what I'm remembering. And again, I hope that this is helpful as much as like it can be. I'm not like completely accurate because I'm not technical. I'm just kind of stating my opinion like as if we're friends and you're asking me what you think of the Kindle, and I just telling you my own personal thoughts. But it charges super fast. I've gone on trips for like 2-3 days, and I just always pack my Kindle, and I know I can trust it even if it's on like a 30% or 20%. And I don't always bring my charger just because sometimes you just forget. So I've noticed like I can still trust it even when it's on that percentage, and it lasts a long time. So even like a 10% can last you a good amount, and I absolutely love it. In terms of like speed, I've noticed that it still works really well. Like it doesn't lag or anything. I don't think I've ever had any like technical issues with it. But again, I always try to keep it in like a little carrier, and I always have like a case on it. Knock on wood, I have not dropped it, but this is like how fast it goes, like the same amount it always has. I don't want to lose my spot, but that's just kind of how fast it goes. I don't really feel like it's like laggy or anything, and I don't ever have like any weird issues with it. For lighting, everything has worked the same like since I've bought in it. So And if it hasn't, it's not nothing that I've noticed, but everything's just working perfectly fine. So when I read it like with the light on it, it hasn't like dimmed or anything. Everything looks perfectly fine. This is actually not the brightest. You can put it up brighter still. It still works perfectly fine, doesn't lag. I also noticed that like connectivity wise, like when I try to connect this to like my Libby and Goodreads, I haven't had an issue with that still. Like I still can like put that I'm in a book on here, and then I can check my Goodreads like the next few minutes and it's still updated. So I feel like that's an issue. And in terms of like connecting to Wi-Fi, I never have an issue. I don't even think I really connect to Wi-Fi all the time. Sometimes I even just turn it off just so I can kind of keep the books. But yeah, like in terms of like connecting the book, like when it comes to like downloading your book onto Kindle or your Libby app, and then you like normally when you download a book on, like for example the Libby app, you'll click on it and like click on the button that says read with Kindle, and then after it says get library book on Kindle, it automatically jumps into this. Like I haven't had any issues, even with it being like 2 to 3 years, and I read at my Kindle at least sometime every week, so often. So there's been maybe some few times where I haven't read my Kindle like at all, maybe for like 2 weeks at most or something, 2 weeks or 3 weeks, but I overall read on my Kindle like a good amount, I would say, to where I'm really surprised, knock on wood, like I'm not trying to jinx it, but I'm like surprised that it has lasted this long. Like tech wise, I feel like it feels like it's in great condition still. Nothing has like decreased, and I just feel like everything works perfectly fine. The battery still lasts a very long time for me, and I rarely have to charge it, which I absolutely love. Like it's my most reliable like piece of technology. So anytime I go anywhere, if I bring this, I know I'm good, especially if I don't know what book I'm gonna bring. Now I kind of wanted to talk about convenience wise. So in terms of convenience, this is why I truly feel like the Kindle, other than like it's still working perfectly fine and like the battery lasting and connectivity wise, longevity wise, other than that, I truly feel like convenience wise, this has like changed my reading game. And the reason why is because I like, don't get me wrong, like I was saying like about my books, so reading with that book at night, like I mainly read at night. So like when I'm done with work and I'm like I'm winding down for the night and I'm laying in bed, you have like your big book, for example. Sometimes you might have like even just like a paperback, like for example like this is not that big, but sometimes when you're laying down, it's so awkward to like hold a book, and it sounds so like first world problems, but it's just sometimes you can't like fully feel comfortable. And like especially with like a hardcover book, like for example like this, don't get me wrong, like you're still gonna read it, but it's not like the most comfortable to like kind of wind down. I like reading until I get sleepy, and then I normally go to sleep, and I just feel like it's like the perfect way to wind down. When I read my Kindle, it's literally like holding your phone, and I think that's why it's so easy for us to go on our phones. It's because when we're on our Kindles, it's just so light. Like for example, I mean, especially if it's like a pop socket, you're just laying down and you're like reading. And they have a lot of things now. I've seen a lot of people have like these, they're like Kindle holders, like kind of like your phone holder for like in your car, but it's kind of like a Kindle holder, and it's supposed to have like a longer arm and it holds your Kindle. And normally there's like a button you can press to change like your pages. It's like lazy reading, but at the finest. Like I literally, I have not had that, but I want that so bad because it's such a game changer. Like thankfully when you have like something like this, you can like lay it on your side and kind of read. And I would just lay down with my arms tucked in and kind of just like with one finger out and just like kind of like tap it when it's time to change the page. But otherwise, like I just feel like it's just so much more lighter and easier to read like quickly, rather than just bringing out a book. Like I do love reading books physically, and nothing will ever change how I feel about reading a physical book and collecting them. So I do feel like it's still worth it. And then me going to the next point, if you're afraid of getting Kindle because you're scared that you're not going to be attached to physical books, or you're not going to get as much physical books because the ease of getting books on your Kindle is just top tier, don't worry, because although I have my Kindle, it's more of like convenience wise. So normally like if I have a copy of a book, I will still get, if I can, I will still get a copy of it on my Kindle, because it's just so much more easier to read on my Kindle. But I still sometimes want to have like a physical copy of a book, and it really helps you like dumb down like which types of books you actually want to collect. So because like it's so easy to get books on your Kindle, anybody pretty much has access to reading. As long as you can like connect it to a library near you, you have like access to any types of books. And or if you have like Amazon Prime, I think they have like certain books on there as well, or you can get like Kindle Unlimited, which I think is like a subscription. But you are able to just read and have access to reading. And when you have physical books, don't get me wrong, I love that, but like for example, like I have Amazon Prime, but when I want to read a book like right away, like when I finished the Ballad of Never After and I had to read A Curse for True Love, I could not wait for that book to come in like the next consecutive day because I had to know what was gonna happen. So they had it on the Libby app, and thankfully I was able to read it like on my Kindle until I can actually get a copy of it to kind of finish collecting the other books I have. So I do notice, like, even though I have my Kindle, and getting books is just so much more easier, and like the access of it is a lot more simple, I still love and adore reading physical books, and I don't have any like decrease on me reading any physical books, because I think one thing I was afraid of when I got my Kindle was, am I gonna still like physical books? Like, I don't want to sacrifice that and give it up, but I do not. Like, if anything, I feel like having my Kindle has made me even read more, and that kind of goes into like my next like position of saying, ever since my Kindle, for some reason I read so much more faster. And I don't know if it's just because like everything's kind of condensed into like one screen compared to like when you're reading a book and the words are a lot more smaller, but I just noticed that reading with my Kindle is just so much more, like I read a lot faster. So I don't know if it's just because like the satisfying feeling of like clicking it and then you're on the next page, but I just love it. And especially because at the bottom it tells you the percentage of where you're at, or like how much more minutes or how much more is left in the chapter. It motivates you to read more, and then you get to see the percentage of like the book that you're in. Don't get me wrong, like when you're reading a physical book, it is nice because you can literally look to see where your bookmark is, and then, you know, like there's like annotating, which you can do in a Kindle as well, and I've already talked about that like my other video. But I do feel like when I have like my book, I'm not reading as fast, and I don't know why that is. Like I just feel like when I read my Kindle, it's just so much more easier, and it's so much more easier for some reason to read. Even like I'm the type of person, when I read, if there's noise around me, it's hard for me to focus, but for some reason when I read my Kindle, it's not as hard for me to like get immersed into the world. And I don't know why, like I don't know what the science is behind that, but for some reason when I'm reading in my Kindle, I can like fall and become more immersed into the world. But I do think, and I'm probably gonna blame it on our phones, because I do feel like our phones has created us to kind of be more immersed into something like this, like a tablet type of thing, where it's just like right in front of us and we can just easily just look at it and pull it out wherever. So I think that might be like the logic behind it, but I'm not quite sure. But I do notice I have read so much more faster, and because I can get access to all kinds of books, it's just, I've noticed that it's just so much more easier for me to read, especially when you're not trying to spend a lot of money. You can just read anything like for free on the Kindle. So I think that's what has like helped me as like a reader to like start reading more, because it's, you just have so much more access, it's so much more easier. And then also the like one major thing I love is, so like I said, when you're reading at night, or let's just say you have like roommates, you're like in a dorm, or you share a room with your siblings, or I don't know, like you're on vacation, a book light is just, the ambient lighting of a book light is pretty bright. And I would like read with like my little one or like my boyfriend in the room, and when they all wind down, I've noticed that if I use my book light, it's still pretty bright, and I think it's because like the ambient lighting of it is just a lot more brighter. But with the Kindle, it's just so much more darker in the room that all you kind of see is just the like dull lighting of the Kindle. But it's not like dull enough to where it hurts your eyes, or it's like you're like squinting or you're struggling to read it. It's dull enough to where it's perfect for you, but it's dull enough to everybody else around you. So I just feel like it's the most perfect way for you to wind down and read, because when I read with my Kindle at night, I would way prefer to read with my Kindle than a physical book. And I think it's because I like not having to worry about charging my book light. I like not having to have like a really bright light that kind of just like sets an ambient lighting for everybody else. And then also it's just so much more easier to like adjust your lighting to what you like, depending on like your the lighting that you're around, your environmental lighting. I don't know if I'm making sense, but I feel like it's just so much more easier. And I feel like I have read so much more ever since I had my Kindle, compared to like when I have just physical books. Like when you're waiting on the physical book, or you're trying not to spend money, so you're like, okay, I'm just gonna wait. And sometimes getting the physical book at your library, they don't always have it and it's hard to find. So I just feel like having the Kindle, you still get to have access to your library, but you don't have to worry about a book being checked out or having it like being harder to find. And honestly, I know some libraries make it easy to like where you can put like a hold on it on their websites, but I don't know about your guys' library, but my library's website, I like it, but it's kind of hard. I don't really navigate on it as much, but putting a hold on your Libby app is just so much more easier when it's your time. Then you get a notification on your phone and then you can just download it right then and there. You don't have to worry about like, oh, am I gonna get off in time and go pick up the book at the library? You can just get it on your Kindle. So I've noticed that overall I have read so much more, and this is why I also feel like the Kindle, like if I wasn't a big reader, but I do like reading here and there, I feel like still worth it because it might even make you read more. And because like I said, you have just like unlimited access to books, and then the ease of reading, it just kind of changes the game of it. And then also I am like someone with like really sensitive eyes, so like certain lights, and sometimes especially because I am on the computer all day for work, and then when I do like computer work for like editing, and I do a lot of like screen time, like when it comes to like editing anything or like even just watching like booktube videos or YouTube videos, my eyes are just really sensitive. And I've noticed that sometimes it's like reading on your phone might be an option for some people, but to me the screen light on your phone is so much more different than like the Kindle light. I think it's not the same type of like blue light type of thing, so that's why it's like more like softer on your eyes. And when I read on my phone, my eyes are just so much more sensitive, and sometimes they're just like uncomfortable. So that's why I think having Kindles is better than just having your phone, because the lighting is really sensitive. It's like, it's really comforting even on your eyes. So you can even change like it to like more of a warmer lighter, like brighter light, and just depending on like how you feel. Like I feel like even when I have like a headache or my eyes are like really sensitive after a long day, I can still change like the type of lighting I have on my Kindle. And also I think because of the actual screen, there's no like blue light going out of it, or like it's not like an LCD screen, I'm not quite sure, but it's not like the same type of screen as your phone. It doesn't hurt your eyes as much when you're reading it. So I feel like that was another like really helpful thing, because I even considered maybe should I just read on the phone, because I have like, I used to have Libby just on my phone, and I've noticed like no, it's so much better on the Kindle. It's so much more better on your eyes. You don't have to worry about putting like a screen on your eyes all the time. Like your screen time is not the same as it is on the Kindle. And also if you have like a headache, the last thing you want to do is like look at your screen. But it's different for like, I get migraines a lot, so when I have a migraine, I can still read on my Kindle, but I can't like use my phone still. So that's like another major plus for me, that being able to like have like a nice softer lighting when you read, especially at night, not waking up anybody. And then also just like the convenience. So when you're like going on vacation 2 to 3 years later, you always want to, I've noticed like people more are like starting to bring books with them when they go on vacations. You go on a long flight, sometimes you don't know what to bring. And also like not only that, but bringing a book sometimes, like a bulky book, is not like the most travel friendly. And also I'm the type of person like I don't like ruining my books. So bringing a big book like this on vacation, I'm just paranoid because it's like bigger. I don't want to ruin the pages. I don't want it to like mess up the cover. And having a Kindle is just so much smaller and compact, where you can just throw it in your bag. It's lighter, and if you don't know what to read, you can find something to read. So it's not like you're going out and buying a book just for the vacation and then you end up not reading that book, because I've done that so many times in my life. But with a Kindle, you can just borrow it from the library. If you end up not reading it, you don't have to worry about it because you didn't waste any money. So overall, I do feel like if you're not like a big reader, but you read like here and there, or you travel, and when you travel you want to read, this is like perfect, because when you have it, you're gonna realize it's just so much more easier. And then pulling it out in public is just so much more subtle than just like bringing out like a big book sometimes. And you don't have to worry about the ambient lighting. Like you don't have to worry if the lighting and the place you're at has good enough lighting. Like I said, like I'm the type of person, like I can't read in certain lights, especially if the light's like kind of too dim for me, like on a book. I feel like the surface lighting around me is like kind of dull. My eyes like can't really read when it's that dark. But with the Kindle, I don't have to worry about it because I can just adjust it. It's pulling it out. It's like pulling out like your phone. So it's a lot more subtle. And I just feel like too, because I've had my Kindle, I've read so much more. And it's just, even like any of my family or my friends who don't have a Kindle, even if they're not like big crazy readers but they do read here and there, I always suggest to them like, have you had a Kindle yet? Because it will change your life. Like honestly, I'm not trying to be dramatic, but it has changed my life so much. It has changed like the way I read and how I read and like the convenience of reading. Even just winding down at night, like I said, is like really important to me. I think because like when I read winding down at night, I ended up reading more, so that sometimes I like wind down for like an hour or two, but being able to have the access to a book just like that and like lay comfortably, it's just something I don't have to really physically think about too much. It helps you have access to books that you might not even think about wanting to read. Like for example, when I have physical books, and don't get me wrong, I'm always gonna love reading physically more than anything. It's always gonna be special to me, and it's always gonna hold like really valuable like sentimental values to me. But oh, and also collecting, like I still want to collect books, but there's some books that like I am interested in reading for the time being, because like I'm a mood reader. So there's like certain books or like certain self-help books I kind of want to see like how I feel about them, and I want to read them for that moment, but I don't think I want to keep them, or I want to read them, I'm not sure if I'm even gonna like it. I can just read it on here, like borrow it, and then if it doesn't like pertain to me, it's not great, I can just return it, and then I don't have to worry about wasting my money, my time, and then also having like an extra book on my shelf that I don't really care for, when that other $10 towards that book could have gone towards the book I actually wanted. So I just feel like it has helped me like decrease the amount of books I have, as well as money and time, and then also kind of like branch out more, because I can have access to any types of book, I am more opted to kind of just download it really quickly on my Kindle and then read it. But overall, let me just look at my list and see if there's anything I'm missing, but I'm not quite sure, so let me see. Okay, and I think actually the last thing I kind of wanted to say was, one thing I love about my Kindle, it's kind of like your phone. You know how you, with your phone, you have like a case, and then when you first get your phone, you get like a cute case to personalize it, and then you like love it, like you love your case, you love like the little charms you put on it, and it feels like new. With your Kindle, I always like, it's something I don't always do, because I have had the two same cases, but like overall they last me forever. Like I've had this flat one, and then I have another clear one that has like a pop socket on the back, which I would highly suggest, because it's just so much more convenient to hold your Kindle with a pop socket. But one thing, and it's not really like a huge thing, but to me, like I really like it, like aesthetic wise, I love that you can like personalize your Kindle. So yeah, it doesn't have like a screensaver to put on there or like a sound, like a ringtone, but you can always like get a clear case and put any types of stickers on there, like through whatever era you're going through in your life. You can just change it up and kind of just personalize it to where it's just still exciting. So it's like you never really get tired of your Kindle, even though it's like the same thing and it just seems like a little brick that's just used for reading. It's still cool to like be able to like create it, like make it more colorful and personalize it. And especially because you can now do like those clear cases, I love that you can just put any types of stickers. So like if you're going through like a phase, like you're going through, I don't know, a Hunger Games phase, or you're going through a Harry Potter phase, or going through like your Taylor Swift phase, you can just deck it out in any types of stickers or decorations that you want, and it just makes it exciting still. Like, so it's like my Kindle always feels like it's a new piece of technology for me, because every time I change it up to the other case, like I go back and forth about my cases, but when I do, I always feel like it's like new again. And I still have like this, you know how when you get a new piece of technology, you just take extra care of it, and every time you pull it out, you just are like, wow, I love this thing. That's like how I feel about my Switch. I feel like that, especially with my Kindle. It's just been the most valuable thing to me. So overall, if you're thinking about if it's worth it in the long run, because when I was looking up Kindle reviews, I only found like people talking about like their review, like their first impression of reviews, or kind of short term, like how long they've had it, but I've never really gotten to see people have it for like years and see if it's even worth it years later, especially because it's not like an advanced, like it's not like an Apple product where there's like an LCD screen and like color and everything and like new software updates. But for it being just like a point blank technology, it is honestly like an amazing piece of technology for me, because especially if you're like a reader or you do enjoy reading, it's just something that's just actually really convenient and really nice. Although it's not like a giant Apple product, but it's still like a product that just is convenient and, what is that word? I have a lot of trust in my product, like in this product. So overall, I just feel like it is worth it. When I first got it, I was kind of scared because I thought it was going to be kind of laggy, especially because it isn't like, you know, an Apple product doesn't have like an LCD screen, but the like overall transition, like when you change the pages, when you change the settings, everything is smooth even 2 to 3 years later. And I was a little worried about that because it's not like this advanced piece of technology and it is like a point blank piece of technology. I was a little afraid that the technology wasn't going to last that long, but 2 to 3 years later, and I still feel like it works amazingly. And again, I'm not trying to jinx this because I don't want to say this and then all of a sudden tomorrow it like blanks out and shuts down on me, but putting a lot of faith into my Kindle, overall I don't feel like it would, because it doesn't even give me signs of like wear and tear. And I don't know if it's because I do take care of I have been taking really good care of my Kindle, but I don't think it's just that. I've seen like, I think I've seen a couple of videos of people using their Kindles after like 5-6 years of it being locked up for a while, and they kind of forgot about it and then using it again, and they're able to use it again. So I overall feel like this is just such an amazing piece of technology that you should definitely invest in. If you're considering getting one or asking one as like a present for a holiday or your birthday, and you're debating if it's even worth it, it is absolutely worth it, especially if you do enjoy reading, or if you're like an avid reader. Even if you're not an avid reader and you just read like here and there, it's such an amazing piece of technology. So I do feel like having this has really changed my life. It's changed how I read. I feel like it's just a piece of technology that I'm always going to recommend to almost everybody. And I'm always trying to persuade like all my loved ones to get one, because it is honestly become like one of my like best buddies. Like I have to bring this everywhere with me, and I absolutely love it. Even making this video kind of makes me even more excited to like have my Kindle and how grateful I am. And again, I just feel like overall everything works perfectly fine. I don't see any like lag in the technology. I don't see any like decrease of me using it. If anything, I feel like me getting it, I've used it so much more than I even thought I was going to use. I didn't think I was going to use it this much, but I've used it so much since having it, and I prefer to use this in terms of convenience, sometimes even over reading a physical book. But again, I love physically reading. I will always love and value and treasure like to read a book physically, and I prefer to read a book physically. But in terms of convenience and comfort, the Kindle will always just like take the cake, because I can just quickly just lay down, read, and then once I get that little like Kindle holder with the button, it's game over. Like that's it. Like I am not talking to no one. That is my me time, and I can't wait. That's like a present to myself that I'm excited for. But overall, I really hope this video is helpful for you. I'm sorry if it was like really rambly, but I just kind of wanted to do like a little quick sit down update, like touch bases with you guys. And if anybody doesn't have a Kindle, if they're just interested in getting one and just wanted to see it like long term, I wanted to create a video like that for you guys, because I was looking for videos like this and it was really hard to find like years later videos. So overall, I hope this video is really helpful, and I hope it persuades you to get a Kindle. And if you do have a Kindle, please let me know like how you love it, or if you don't love it, just let me know your reviews, and like let me know how it has changed your life, and if it wasn't for you. Like I just like hearing everybody's thoughts on the Kindle. But overall, when I posted the other Kindle video, I had so many comments about how much they love their Kindles, and it was just one of their most favorite things. And I love seeing that, because I love seeing that they actually really enjoyed this. And I do feel like this is such a great piece of technology that it's just so cool to see people just want to read more, and then even people who aren't even big readers become more of a reader because of how easy the Kindle makes it for them. So I overall just leave your comments and your thoughts, and any questions, I'll try to answer them. Again, I'm not like a technical person, but if you have like little simple questions that might help you, I can try the best I can. And also just tell me like what you think about your Kindle and how you're liking it. And overall, if you're thinking about getting one, I definitely am saying that you should. Like I'm just saying that off the bat, like you definitely should. And I hope this persuaded you even more. And if you do have one, I hope that this made you even love your Kindle even more. But yeah, I had so much fun making this video, and I love talking about my Kindle. So I'm just really happy I got to talk about this with you guys. And overall, I really hope this really helps you. And I will probably let you guys go. So I will see you guys on the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye!